Hello everyone, welcome to this video. In this video, we'll be discussing another amazing and super important concept inside OOP called inheritance. I think you remember in our previous video, I have already discussed about aggregation, inside OOP, and I showed you what is the use of aggregation and why we perform the aggregation. Because let's say whenever we implement any kinds of real world application, there we not only create only one classes, but also we create multiple classes, for that particular, let's say, application. And whenever we create lots of classes for the different functionality, so there is a possibility there would be some relationship with that particular classes. So to make this particular relationship, what I can do, I can perform the aggregation. That means one class owns other class here. That means what you can do, you can access other class property from another class. So this is called actually class relationship. Basically it is communicating with each other, right? So this was the concept. But see, when inheritance was not there, so aggregation was the concept that time. And I think you saw how to perform the aggregation, what is the code snippet and all. But nowadays actually aggregation has been replicated. Nobody uses aggregation concept, so people are using something called inheritance, because inheritance is much powerful than your aggregation. Syntax wise actually it is also easy, and here actually you can do lots of things. I'll tell you whenever I'll be discussing this inheritance example and all, that time actually we'll get it. So inside inheritance, actually, we are having some types of the inheritance as well. We'll be also discussing all of them one by one. So in a summary, what is inheritance? Inheritance also, like the concept wise, it is the same thing like your aggregation. That means it will perform the relationship between actually classes. That means one or multiple classes. And this inheritance concept has taken from the real world actually. If I'm talking about, let's say, so whatever property your father is having, you owns that particular property, right? That means you can access those property. So similar wise, whatever property your grandfather is having, your father can, let's say, access those property. Even you can also access that property. So in inheritance, actually, we are having something called parent classes and child classes, like that. Let's say I told you now one example. Let's say your father is having some property, you can access this property. That means your father is a parent class and you are the child class. Likewise, your grandfather is having some property, your father can access. That means your grandfather is a parent and your father is a child class. Even I can tell you another example. This is a biological example. I think you already know biologically also we are having some property like our parents. Like let's say someone will have the same eyes like his father or mother, and someone will have the same actually face cut like his mother or father, right? So that's how actually biologically also it is the concept of inheritance. So this concept has taken from this real world only. So whoever designed this particular program, so he thought we can also integrate this inheritance concept inside our programming language, because at the end, whenever I'm implementing any kinds of software and whenever I'm creating different functionality, that means there should be some relationship with that particular, let's say, functionality. So I'll give you one example, real world example. Then I think this part would be more clear. So for this, actually, what I will do, I will open up my Blackboard and let me show you that particular example. So here, let me show you one real-time actually software product, like how they have implemented. So I'll be talking about something called Coursera. I think you know what is Coursera, right? So Coursera is an online platform. You will have actually different courses here, right? So Coursera is a platform. So in Coursera actually website, you will have actually two kinds of portal. One is actually a student portal. Student portal. Other is like instructor portal. Instructor portal. Now just tell me what student can perform in that website. So student can log in. Student can register. Then student can enroll the course. Then student can review the course. So as of now, let's try to consider these are the functionality student can perform. And whatever instructor also can log in. Instructor also can register. And instructor actually can create a course. And instructor, let's say, do the reply. Reply on the, let's say, review and all. Reply. Now just try to see what is the relationship between these two functionality. I think you see login and register is the common in both places. Login and register is the common is the both places. Now let's say you are implementing this software. You are implementing this software Now just tell me, will you create login and register functionality for both instructor and student? Like from scratch you will be writing? Yes or no? No, you don't need to write from scratch, because you can see it's a common thing. So if I only can implement, let's say, login and register for one, I can use it for other also, because it has some relationship. Okay, this class and this class can communicate with each other. So that's why in programming, there is a concept actually always you have to remember, called dry. Okay, what is dry? Dry means don't. Okay, repeat yourself. Okay, yourself. See, you don't need to repeat yourself. So just try to create one functionality for login and another functionality for register, and use it everywhere. Okay, whenever you are performing the login and register operation. So for this, what you can do, simply you can create a user class. Okay, user class, and inside user, what you can do, just write the login functionality and register functionality. Okay, login functionality and register functionality. Then next, what you can do, you can just create your student. Okay, student class, and inside student can enroll and student can review. Okay, I don't need to take login and register here, because I already created the user class. Okay, now what I have to do, I have to perform the inheritance operation. That means I will just try to inherit this particular class with this student class, because whatever property user will having, student can also access. Okay, like I told you, your father has having some property, you can also access. Let's say this is your parent class right now. Okay, this is your parent class. This is the parent class, and this is the child class. Okay, I hope it is clear. Now similar wise, you can create another class for the instructor, and instructor can create the course and reply. Okay, reply. And login and register functionality will be doing the inheritance operation. Okay, inherit, you will be doing inherit. That means again it will become your child class. Okay, child class. Now in this particular diagram, you can see we are having only one parent class and multiple child class. Okay, so this is the concept of inheritance. Okay, I hope now it is clear. And now just try to think about all the software you are having, all the software you are using, all the software using this particular concept only. And it's like very powerful concept, and it's like very optimized concept as well. So I've seen so many actually senior developer, they're using this kinds of concept in their application building. So you just also try to make a habit to use inheritance concept whenever you are implementing any kinds of product. Just try to design the product first of all, like how it will be working, what is the relationship actually it is having. Once you are able to identify the relationship, you can easily create that class. Okay, so in summary, what we have learned in inheritance is a concept. So here we can also do the class relationship, and it can inherit with let's say some classes. Okay, and it will have some parent classes and child classes. Okay, based on that, actually you have to perform the inherit operation. That means whatever actually, let's say, property your parent is having, your child can access this property. Okay, the same real-time example I given you, like your father and you, right? So this is the idea. Now let's go to our code editor and try to see the code example, how we can perform the inheritance operation there. So guys, so far whatever concept I just explained, so in actually definition I have written it here. So what is inheritance? Inheritance allows us to define a class that inherit all the methods and properties from another class. Okay, I already told you, whatever parents is having, your child can also access those properties. Okay, whether it can be, let's say, methods, or whether it can be attributes. Okay, anything it can access, but there is a condition. Okay, it should be non-private attributes and non-private methods. Okay, as we learned in our aggregation as well. Okay, it should be non-private. If you are having some private property in the parent class, okay, that time actually you can't access it. For this you have to use setter and getter. Okay, this particular method. So it should be non-private and so it should be non-private attributes and non-private methods. Okay, always you have to remember. Now let me show you one example. Okay, how we can perform the inheritance. See, here I will take one class. It's a very simple class I have written. See, I have written my class called user. Inside that I have taken a constructor, and inside that I've just defined some class variable like name and gender. Fine. And inside this class, I have taken one method called login. Okay, let's say this is the Coursera, let's say, website we're implementing, and here we're having one methods called login. Okay, if you just call the login, it will perform the login operation. Then similar wise, you can also take another method called register. Okay, inside that I'll just return register. Okay, register done. Now see, I implemented this class actually, user class. So login and register we can perform, okay, inside this particular class. Now what I will do, I'll take another class. The class name should be student. Okay, this class, okay, student. So let me take class student. Okay, student. And inside that I'm going to define a constructor, and let's say constructor variable wise I'll take student roll number. Let's say roll number is 12. Okay, this is the roll number. Now inside that I'm going to create a method. Let's say the method name I'll keep as enroll. I think you saw student can enroll. Okay, now inside that it will give me one message, enrolled. Okay, enrolled the course. Okay, this is the idea. Now here what I told you, student can also log in and register. For this actually I don't need to write this function method again and again. What I will do, I'll perform the inheritance with the user. Now if I want to perform the inheritance with the user, what I will do, simply you just need to take a parenthesis, and inside that you have to mention the user class. Okay, that's it. Okay, if you do like that, that means now your student class is inherited with this user class. That means whatever user is having, okay, your student can also access this property. Okay, I hope you cleared. Now similar wise you can also create the instructor one. So let me copy. Okay, let me copy, and you can define the instructor class. Instructor class, and instructor would be also inherited with the user because instructor can also log in and register, right? And here student can, let's say, create the course. Okay, create the course. So here I'll just write created the course. Fine. And roll number, no, I will give, let's say, ID number of the instructor. Let's say this is the ID number of the instructor. Fine. Now if I execute the program, see, it's working fine. Now first of all, let me define the student object. So I'll just write AS is equal to student. Now see, if I execute, it's working fine. Now if I want to, let's say, access student, let's say, property, that means let's say student wants to enroll. So what will happen? So I'll just write s.enroll. Now see, it will tell you enroll the course. Now can I access this login? Can I access this login from the student object? Is it possible? Let me show you. See, if I just write s dot, okay, s dot, let's say login. Okay, s dot login. Now if I execute, see, it is also possible. That means it is inherited with this user class. Okay, and inside user, whatever property we are having, it's a non-private property. That is why we are able to access, okay, we are able to access all the parent. Let's say this is my parent right now. This is my parent class. This is my child class. This is also a child class. Okay, I hope you cleared. That means from the child class itself, I can access all the property of my parent class as well. Fine. Now see, if I just press s dot, see, all the functionality you can see. Enroll, gender, login, name, register, roll number. Okay, everything you can see, which is present inside your child class as well, parent class as well. Now let's say I want to perform the register. I can do it. Now similar wise for the instructor as well. Let's say I'll define the instructor. Now if I just write, let's say I dot create course, I can create the course. Even I can also perform the login operation. I dot login. See, created course, login done. Okay, I hope you cleared. The same example we just implemented as a code. That's the idea. Now I'll tell you another thing, but for this actually what I will do, instead of taking multiple classes, I will take only 2 classes. Okay, because I don't want to take all the actually code here. It would be easy for me to explain. Okay, so that's why I've taken only 2 classes. Let's say user and student. You can also take instructor, it's up to you. Okay, but I haven't taken instructor here. Let's say I will execute this code. Okay, now first of all, let me define the student object. Okay, now if I just write, let's say s dot name. Okay, s.name. See, if I just write s.name, that means I want to access this name, okay, which is present inside my parent class. Now if I execute this code, what will happen? Just let me know. See, if I execute the code, it will throw me one error. Okay, it will throw me one error. It will tell student object has no attribute name. Okay, why? Because I told you I can access my parent class property, non-private property, but why it is not able to access this name variable, name attribute? Why? Okay, because see, there is a concept inside OP and inside actually inheritance. See, in both classes we are having the constructor. I think you know both classes were having the constructor, right? So whenever I'm initializing my student object, that means student class, definitely this constructor will get executed by default. Now see, it will always follow one rule. The rule is, if one class is having his own constructor, okay, if one class is having its own constructor, that constructor would be executed at the very first. That means it will give the first priority to its constructor. Okay, first of all, it will give the priority this particular constructor. That means the constructor it is having. Okay, then it will give the priority to the second constructor, which is it is getting inherited. Got it? That now that means what is happening whenever you are defining this student object. So here student object having own constructor, that means it will give the first priority to this particular constructor. Now inside this constructor, is there any name? You can see name attribute. No, there is no name attribute. That's why it's throwing error. Student object has no attribute name. But let's say if I comment this constructor code, let's say there is no constructor in this particular class. Now if I execute the program, it will work fine. Why? Because first of all, my code will come here. It will check whether it is having the constructor or not. Now see, I don't have any constructor. Then it will give the priority to the next constructor, which is getting inherited. Okay, this is the idea. First of all, child class will give the first priority to the child constructor. Okay, if not available, then it will give the priority to the parent class constructor. This is the idea. Okay, I hope you got it. Now let's see if I uncomment this line. Now if I just write, let's say roll number. Okay, roll number. Now see, this code will execute because roll number is present inside my constructor right now. Okay, so this is again a super important concept, because many people will get confused. Why actually I'm not able to access the attribute of my parent class? Okay, although I have done the inheritance operation because of that. Okay, because of this particular concept, you have to remember. I hope it is clear. But there is a concept actually we can use. If I want to access my parent class, let's say attribute as well from the child class, it is also possible. That time actually we'll be using one actually concept called super class. We'll be using one concept called super class inside inheritance. Okay, with the help of super class we can do it. So I'll also discuss the super class, like how we can use it and how we can access our parent class property, parent class attribute. Okay, so yes, this is all about our inheritance concept inside OP. Okay, and I showed you one example. I think now it is clear. Now in the next video we'll be also learning some new topic. We'll be also learning some advanced topic of the inheritance. Okay, with that, thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you next time.